You want to talk about the Celtics? What do you got?
I have to talk. It's what I've been writing about for 10 years now with you and other places and in books. Is like these guys are elevating 3-point shooting to another level. Like if we go from the Splash Brothers to the D'Antoni Harden Industrial Complex in Houston, we think it can't get any higher. Your team, Bill Simmons, is taking it higher. They are shooting over 53s a game, and they're making 43% of them. I'm not sure either of those numbers are sustainable, but I'm not copping out here. I expect this team to break 3-point shooting records by the end of the season. I think they'll break the record for most attempts and most makes. And Mazzulla ball has not only won a championship, but it's doing it by extending Daryl Morey and Stephen Curry's legacy deep into the 2020s and proving once and for all the 3-point revolution isn't dead. In fact, the best teams in the league are still finding ways to leverage 3-point shooting in profound new ways. So your team, I think, is becoming the new Splash Brothers or sort of Harden Rockets.
It's like the Splash family. Yeah, it was interesting. Last night against the Bucks, they brought in Jordan Walsh. And I was like, what the fuck, man? This guy, he's not a good enough 3-point shooter. He doesn't fit into our system. And he took a couple, he missed a couple, but it's
Xavier
surprising
Tillman,
when they play anyone.
Threes.
Yeah, well, it's shocking when they put anyone in who can't make an open three, you know, and they have an embarrassment of riches all over the place. It's the 3-point shooting, the fact that they don't have Porzingis and you don't even really notice. They just have so much depth that now they're paying for the depth. They're going to have a crazy luxury tax bill. I love what I've seen from Tatum and Brown early on. Tatum fixed the hitch, which thank God. I think he's a legitimate MVP candidate. Michael Pina wrote about that for TheRinger.com today, and I completely agree. If they're going to be in the 60s for wins, you got to really seriously look at whoever the best player is. But I love everything I've seen from Tatum. And then Jalen, I feel like has taken all the shit that he was doing last year, and it's maybe even like just a hair better. And the two of them together, it's everything Steve Kerr always told me about the year after you win the title, that first 2 months, the next season, you're just like, you're so locked in. You have so much confidence. And that's it's gotten to the point, like, I would be surprised when they lose, you know, which I feel the same way about OKC. We're like, oh, OKC lost last night. That's usually when you know you have a 60-win team. It's like, whoa, shit. The Celtics lost 2 in a row. Like, it's shocking.
Yeah. And I think like when Sam Hauser, but I mean, Peyton Pritchard scores 28 points. That's a classic indicator too. I think when you have a bench player come out and just change a game like that, and it's not somebody you would count on doing that more than once or twice a month.
Yeah.
And I just think they are the deepest team in the NBA, not to beat a dead horse, but as you mentioned earlier, it's the 3-point depth in particular. If you want to play for Joe Mazzulla, you have to be able to shoot from 25 feet. You have to want to shoot it. He gets mad at his players when they don't shoot them, which is kind of the mentality that you need to have. It's like a lot of guys in the league want to pass up those shots, and he actually reprimands his guys, and you'll hear them talking about he gets mad when we pass up an open look. That's very different than what was happening just 10 years ago around this league. But I think they're going to break records in 3-point shooting, potentially offensive efficiency again, and challenge conventional wisdom further. How many threes can we do here? I think over half of their shots are 3-point shots at this point, which is crazy.
Yeah, so you figure they're taking 53s a game and making 40% of them. That's 23s a game, right? 82 games in a year. So could they get to like 1,700 threes for the season? Like it's conceivable. I don't know what the record is, but I guarantee nobody's ever had 1,600.
Do they have 5 guys shooting 7 or more in a game right now? I think Klay Thompson's only done 7 or more in a game like half of his years in the NBA. So it's like it's like a normal Klay Thompson year, but they have 5 of them. So it is sort of like the Splash family. And
do you subscribe to the you don't? I remember first talking about this 2 years ago. There was some dialogue about it the last couple of days on the internets, that there's a sameness to all of these styles now that becomes boring during the regular season. I don't I'm so used to it now. It doesn't seem any different to me. And I still feel like there's enough aberration type of players ranging from, John Morant to Cam Thomas to there's some post up guys. We still have like the Şengün types. It doesn't feel like just up. Everybody's chucking up threes. We'll see who wins. But do you see any of that?
Yeah, I play both sides of that. I think there's never been this much talent in the league, and ultimately that's why I turn on the TV set. I love watching the guys, but I'd love to see the NBA move the line. I think it's time to move the line. I think the shot has become too easy for too many guys. I've been really vocal about that. I think the first time I wrote about it was in 2014 at Grantland after the Spurs won the title. And I think it's only I don't say it's ugly. I don't want to say that, but I think the shot has become too easy for too many. And I'd like to see it a little more difficult for the average player. And it's only going to make Stephen Curry and Damian Lillard more valuable, or Jason Tatum. Guys who can shoot from deeper will become more valuable in a world where the shot's harder. So I think it actually celebrates those guys a little bit more. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? You think it's okay? You think everything is hunky-dory? You don't think it's too many threes? I always joke, Bill, that it should be called the 2-point line once we take more than half of our shots from behind it. But yeah, I'm eager to hear what you think on this one, actually.
This is the first time I've seriously started thinking about, do we have to fix the corner three a little bit? Do you make the arc, you change it a little bit so when it goes right to the corner, maybe the line goes so that a corner three no longer exists. And you have to be 3-4 feet over from the corner for it to be a corner three. That would be the only thing that I could see 5-6 years from now, if they're going to tweak it. I could see the whole arc of the 3-point line, instead of it just being like almost like a semicircle, the way it looks now, being different, where it kind of it hits the corner in a way that corner threes are gone. It goes up higher so that like the peak of it is like 28 feet instead of 24 or whatever. And maybe that's where we're heading. But I don't know if that would help the product, because then it's like just guys heaving these long shots and these long rebounds. And I think that would cause too many unintended consequences. But you could tell me, like, could they experiment with the corner three for preseason, see what it looks like? I wouldn't be against it.
I don't think I've ever shared this, but in 2019, after my book came out, Adam Silver had reached out to me and said, "Will you come present some of this stuff to the league?" And we had suggested 2 different 3-point lines. And we got to the competition committee, and we were going to try it in the G League, Bill. We were going to try 2 or 3 different looks in the G League, and I'd love for them to revisit. One was to get rid of the corner three entirely, which is very drastic. And in fact, I think it was Brad Stevens, who was on the competition committee, was like, "Hell no. You'll never see a slam dunk again. This is going to ruin spacing." So, you have to see it. You have to see how the league reacts to these things, because it could end up making the product worse. Like, hand up, like some of these ideas might not be good ideas for the product. And I think the better one is to keep the corners where they are, but extend the 3-point arc, which is currently 23.75. Get it out to 25 or 26 feet, like you described. But again, you're exactly right. Does that just mean we're watching more missed threes, the same number of threes, but fewer makes? Because that's not great. So I think we'd have to see it in practice to see what it would look like before we would sort of engineer the right product. What I would say is every other league on the planet that matters, the W, college basketball, FIBA, they've all moved the line back this century. The NBA is the only one that hasn't. But yeah, I think that's going to be a bigger conversation as your Celtics continue to rain down dozens of threes on their opponent on a nightly basis.
One other thing I was thinking is maybe there's a limit for threes. Once you make 20, you just can only make 2-pointers from that point on. You basically used up your 20 and that's it. Like, maybe that's where it goes.
That would be awesome. I think
you kind of like that one.
I like that one. I like it. It's like, I don't like timeouts. Sorry, that's your last 3. So I hope you're ready to post up Porzingis for the rest of the game. It would be wild to see how teams would change their offense.
Yeah, maybe they wouldn't shoot threes in the first quarter.